Hey there, this is Mr. Icarus, and welcome to yet another edition of Doom Mod Madness. This time round, we are checking out a gameplay mod by the name of Dakka. This is specifically a mod that replaces the weaponry in Doom and also introduces a scoring mechanic, but chief above all, it's primarily concerned with making your weaponry and your attacks feel satisfying as all heck, and it's certainly off to a good start when it comes to the dual pistols here, and also the melee option, which is fast and furious with the primary, and can also be charged for an explosive punch on the secondary. You may or may not have noticed at this point that simply killing enemies does not net you a fixed score increase. If you cast your eyes to the top right, you'll notice that as I kill various enemies, there are a number of multipliers that can come into play, and these are affected by a whole host of variables, be it by switching weapons mid-kill, by using nothing but your fists, by doing it point blank, and I'm sure a whole number of other things that usually whiz by too quick for me to take notice of. But the key to this is the more varied and the more interesting the manner that you pull off your kills, the quicker that score is going to go up and the faster the bar below it is going to fill. What happens when the bar is full? Well, one of two things, depending on its color. In this case, it will give me a bit of ammo replenishment once I fill it up, but if it's blue, it will result in a health boost, usually the equivalent of a soul sphere. Working our way back to the list of weaponry within Dakka, you'll find the pump-action shotgun seems largely unchanged, that is, until you fire the alt, and you'll discover that this is a feature of the vast majority of weapons here in Dakka. There's a primary, and then there is also an alt. In this case, the chain gun can actually be combo pressed, which is an odd feeling thing to do. You can press primary and secondary simultaneously, which will actually make the barrel fire faster, and then there's also the secondary, which turns the chain gun into a rather surprising impromptu flamethrower. The super shotgun has a few interesting quirks, first of which being you can fire each barrel independently in quick succession. If you forget to fire the other one for a while, it automatically reloads itself. The secondary seems like it just straight up belches fire directly into the face of your enemies, which I'm not going to complain about at all, but you'll also notice the significant difference in spread between the pump action here and then going back to the super shotgun where it's, a fair bit wider. Intriguingly, this led to me actually using the super shotgun a heck of a lot less than I normally would, saving it instead for more close-range crowd control style situations, whereas the pump action, I prized its range, accuracy, and that heavy damage dealing ult. But putting that to one side, how about I show you the Dakka rocket launcher? Not one, not two, but three sequentially firing barrels ensure that this rapid-fire rocket launcher is very much in keeping with the Dakka ethos. All you need to do is hold down that fire button and watch that body count rise. You may be wondering what happens when you fire the alt. Well, believe it or not, it fires 3 rockets simultaneously, which can then impale lesser enemies, carry them away, and then have them explode. I approve. Now, the Lancer is where I can't help but feel a bit conflicted. It's got a tough job. It's essentially replacing the plasma gun, and the plasma gun in its vanilla form is already a fantastic gun to use. So, in comparison, I can't help but feel that the primary fire of the Lancer sounds a bit weak. It's fortunate then that the alt fire is a little bit more satisfying to use, requiring you to hold down the button and build up charge before unleashing a railgun-esque blast into your nearest enemy. But let's be real here for a second. If you absolutely positively have to kill every mortally challenged being in the room, there's only one solution. The BFG. Accept no substitutes. This right here is the star of the show for me. This is Dakka's crown jewel, because good grief does this thing melt faces. To be honest, once you pick up the BFG in Dakka, you have essentially won. It carves through enemies like a hot knife through butter, and only a select few things are going to be able to stand in your way. One of those is you running out of ammunition, and the other is shockingly poor health management. I mean, at this point, I was only even swapping out to other weapons out of some misplaced sense of pity for everything that came before, because boy, does every other weapon in this mod get comprehensively overshadowed by the BFG. So, how does all of this ultimately mesh together? Well, the fun factor is certainly there, that much is true. I wouldn't have gotten through this many levels of Vanguard if it turned out that the weapons weren't all that satisfying to use, but no, the satisfaction is there. I just feel like it could be pushed ever so slightly further. There's a little bit of spice that could be sprinkled over this to really enhance the Dakka flavor. And I think the key to that lies in the scoring system, because I'll be honest, after a while, I completely forgot it existed. I just stopped paying attention to that particular corner of the screen, and I feel that going forward in potential future updates, they could really lean into that and do some interesting and pretty damn fun stuff. Just go absolutely hog wild with the types of bonuses that you can acquire beyond simple ammo regen and health regen. The reason why I'd like them to lean into the scoring system so much is because I really feel like it would help Dakka set itself apart in the realm of OP weapon mods, because whether you like it or not, you make an overpowered weapons mod, and inevitably you're gonna get yourself compared to Russian overkill. It's a tough gig, it really is, and that's why I feel like it's so important for mods like this to do things that help them stand out from the crowd, and the potential is most assuredly there with the scoring system. I mean, just for sheer potential, you could have a bar that fills up and overpowers your weapons even more temporarily. You could have a bar that fills up and changes the properties of the enemies you fight, that adds something maybe not even beneficial to the player into the mix. There's all sorts of things you can do, and I honestly feel like that's the best possible direction for this particular mod to actually head in. Now, when it comes to what's already here, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun. I just feel like there are a few tweaks that could be made in order to enhance certain weapons, such as the Lancer that I've already mentioned, that could probably use a rework in the sound department, something to make it sound a little bit more punchier, but for a lot of the others, it's pretty much on point, especially that triple barrel rocket launcher. That thudding sound effect of firing it over and over is just absolutely fantastic. And really, it just comes down to looking at each individual weapon here and seeing if it holds up to the concept of Dakka. Looking at it objectively and thinking, is there room here for more Dakka? And the answer to that is almost always universally, yes. More Dakka! So, would I recommend Dakka? Yeah, it's a pretty fun time. It could stand to be more fun, but that can come with time. Right now, it's more than fun enough. Best played on slaughter wads, such as Vanguard, which is what I've been playing on for the purposes of this video, and yes, this level is what you can do if you get through all of it. You know what, I just realized I forgot to talk about one of the other guns here in Dakka. There's a chainsaw replacement that uses the spent ammo casings of other guns in Dakka as its own ammunition. It's kind of like a dual-wielded flag cannon. It's really interesting, and yet another reason why you should give Dakka a try. I mean, aside from the giant fuck-off BFG that melts faces. But yeah, I think I'm going to be keeping an eye on Dakka. It's early days, and I'm eager to see what future updates will bring. I'm particularly eager to see the potential evolution of that scoring system. But if this has piqued your interest, you'll find the link, as usual, in the description below. While I'm at it, I'd like to give a great big thank you to my wonderful patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and for helping to make content like this possible. If you're interested in lending a hand yourself, maybe you'd like to see your name in the credits, or maybe you'd like to gain access to early editions of my videos before anyone else. If that's the case, you'll find the link to my Patreon page also in the description below. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments, and feel free to suggest any mods you'd like to see me cover in future editions of Doom Mod Madness. This has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.